Hello, my name is Ted Gardner, and I'm an interviewer with the Library of Congress Oral History Project. We're here at the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County. Dennis Daly of the History Department of our library is our videographer here today, and we have the honor and the joy of speaking with an old friend, Bill Worrel, John William Worrel. And Bill, of course, obviously is a World War II veteran, and Bill and I have known each other for a long time through music and the Rotary Club of Cincinnati. And Bill, where were you born?
Fairview, Kansas.
Fairview?
That's out in the prairies.
My gosh, yes.
Yes. It's between, if you're going from Atchison, Kansas City to Atchison to Omaha,
Yeah.
it's about 100 miles west.
Oh, for heaven's sake, that is way out in the prairie.
It is way out in the prairie. Yeah.
And when were you born?
1915.
1915.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. Were you an only child, or did you have brothers and sisters, or what in your family?
I had a brother and two step-brothers,
Okay.
sisters, yeah.
Well, that's, and did you live on a farm?
No, my dad had a little weekly newspaper there
In Fairview?
in Fairview, yeah.
For heaven's sake, what was it called?
The
You remember?
Fairview Republican. Well, that's better than the Daily Bugle, isn't it?
I'll say it is. It sure is. So you grew up in a literary family.
Yeah, and my father was a newspaper editor and a printer.
Isn't that wonderful?
Then we moved to Atchison,
Atchison, Kansas.
where Amelia Earhart was one of our famous people that we lived in the same town with her.
Sure, the Atchison, Topeka.
Atchison, yeah. Didn't last long. Atchison, or Topeka,
No.
wound up to being kind of Santa Fe.
Yes, right.
But the song lives on forever.
Oh, that song lives on forever. That's right. So you went to elementary school there?
In Atchison
Yep.
High School.
And high school?
Yeah. They had a wonderful orchestra.
Did you really?
Yeah.
How
we
did you
played-
get into music, Bill?
I was in sixth grade, and I went to hear the Atchison High School Orchestra, and they played the first 4 bars of the Barber Seville, and I was sunk for life. That was it.
Isn't that something? What a great story.
And for
The
contest, we played the Egmont Overture,
Yeah.
which is the same thing that the New York Philharmonic opened the season with this year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that they'd opened with that this year. And the Egmont, of course, had it. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That is so lush and wonderful. Yeah, that's great stuff.
Yeah.
So what did you play?
Trombone,
Yep.
University of Illinois, I played tuba and baritone.
So you were a brass man most of
And,
the time, huh?
Lexington Symphony, I played tuba and French horn.
Lexington, Kentucky?
Yeah.
How about
And
that?
then the Lexington Symphony, I played French horn.
Oh my gosh.
So I generally played whatever they needed.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Did you ever play the trumpet?
I did, but I didn't have
You didn't have the embouchure for it.
amateur.
Okay, well now let's stick with this getting started in music. And how large an orchestra did you have there in Atchison?
It's about 75.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we had the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's great. So let's see, 1915, you graduated in when? 1933?
Yeah.
Class of 33. On through high school, what other interests did you have?
None, except a
None.
girl.
Girls and music.
I married her. Yeah.
A high school
High
sweetheart.
school sweetheart, yeah.
How about that?
Mother of my 2 children.
Isn't that
And
something?
she died in 63.
Oh dear,
Yeah.
that's too young.
Yeah, then I lost my second wife too.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I remember your second wife. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so 1933 are the depths of the Depression.
And a dust storm in Kansas.
And the dust storm, which started the migration from
Yeah.
those states to the west.
Yeah, we had to tape our windows with duct tape.
Is that
keep
so?
out the dust.
Is that
Yeah.
so? My golly. So you were in that town of Atchison. Well, now how about your dad in the newspaper?
Well, he came back to Atchison to be in the print business with a daily paper. And then he went back out there to another town to start his own paper again.
I see.
And he died out there.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
I see. Well, your exposure to the newspaper business and the printing
Yeah.
industry, that was very enlightening too, wasn't
Well, I
it?
worked one whole summer as a devil,
Oh, you
a
did?
printer's devil.
Printer's
You know what
devil.
that means?
Yeah, what a
Gopher.
dirty job.
A gopher.
And one of the dirtiest jobs, that printer's ink.
Well, I was working with lead all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good golly.
I can't believe it.
I know, it's a wonder you didn't get poisoned.
Yeah.
You know, those days we didn't worry about things like that.
We didn't worry about peanut butter poisoning either.
No, that's right.
Gosh,
That's right. Oh my golly, I know it. Those were the days.
we took the orchestra down to Leavenworth to the prison
Yeah.
to play a concert,
Uh-huh.
and we played our concert, and then the warden of the prison got up and said, "Well, we don't have enough time now. We'll have to stop now." And the prisoners just died. We don't have any time now. The guys in there for life.
They got nothing but time.
to listen to the orchestra.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. He must have had something else to do.
Yeah, he probably had a golf game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1933, you finished with high school. Then what happened?
I went to Emporia State University.
Emporia State.
Yeah,
Now wait a minute, isn't that where the Whites came from?
William Allen White.
William Allen White.
I played the farewell dinner for William Allen White and Henry Keffer from Topeka and Ed Howe from Atchison, the three great journalists.
Three great.
We had a big party in Topeka.
Oh,
We took the orchestra down. I got to meet all those guys.
isn't that something? The Emporia Gazette.
Right.
William Allen White.
Yeah.
One of the great ones of all times.
And what's the name of the Topeka paper?
Oh, that's a good question.
I forgot.
So have I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, between the Fairview Republican and all of that, you really got into it. But you met those men and shook hands with them, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Well, Ed Howe from Atchison lived right across the street from me.
Oh, I'll be darned.
And his daughter was Adelaide Howe,
Uh-huh.
and she won a Pulitzer Prize for novels.
Isn't that something?
We lived here, and she lived right over there in an old cabin on the back of the lot. She was a hermit.
How about that?
And those people in Atchison weren't excited about that. I was thrilled to death
Well, of course.
to think that I knew a woman that won a Pulitzer Prize.
Yes, just imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine. Well, you knew what it meant.
Yeah,
Most of those people didn't.
yeah.
Well, that's amazing. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Well, you've been exposed to some very, very historical
Yeah.
events and times.
Well, I quit college because I wanted to be a jazz guy.
You wanted to play jazz.
So I went with Lawrence Welk for a while.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Now, this was before the war?
No, I went to college 2 years, and I said, I don't want to go to college, I want to go into jazz.
Oh, I'll be darned.
That didn't last very long, so I was went back to
Right.
college.
And that's where you did your jazz with the trombone?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I'd heard you in those good old days.
Yeah. Well, I was a scat singer, too.
Were you really?
Yeah. Welk thought it was funny.
Fats Waller stuff and all that?
No. I got nodules on my vocal cords from singing that stuff.
No kidding.
Yeah. But Lawrence Welk thought that was very funny.
Very funny.
Very.
He was a little weird, wasn't he?
Well, I could count to two. A one and a two.
You can't trust those North Dakotans, so.
He was very nice.
Oh, yeah, he was a very, very
Right.
nice man. Well, now, you did your 2 years of college where? At Emporia?
Emporia, and then I played with him, then back to Emporia.
Yeah,
Then I
yeah.
graduated, and I went out and taught high school bands in Kansas.
Oh, so you graduated from Emporia State,
Yeah,
huh?
30.
I see.
Yeah.
Got you. I thought you went to Illinois.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, then, still 8 years before Pearl Harbor when you got out of high school, and then you got out of college. When did you graduate college?
38.
38.
38, yeah.
Okay. Well, still 3 years away from
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor.
Well, we had some communists living, going to school there, fighting the war.
Yeah?
Yeah,
No kidding.
yeah. They had an organization, Veterans of Future Wars or something.
Really?
Yeah.
That was in Emporia?
Yeah.
My goodness.
So I was teaching out there in a little town. That's where I got drafted.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And they sent me to Fort Leavenworth.
What became of those young communists when the war came along?
I'm sorry.
Did they get drafted?
I think they probably did. Yeah.
Well, then, where were you on December the 7th, 1941?
I was taking kids to an all-state band in Emporia, Kansas.
Is that so?
Yeah.
You heard the news on the radio or something?
Yeah, and then I recorded Franklin Roosevelt's address on a wire recorder.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Boy, you were on top of things.
Tried.
So then, as you faced our participation in the war, which had already been going on for
Yeah.
2 years,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize that, my goodness, Europe was in ferment
Yeah.
before we ever got into it. You were drafted and into the Army, but you had your trombone.
Yeah, right.
Was that sort of a open sesame for you?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Well, that and the fact that the commander of Fort Leavenworth was a lodge brother of my brother-in-law.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That helped.
that helped. The sergeant said, when he came to tell me where I was going, he said, "Well, Worrel, you were going to be in the Air Corps anyway, so it didn't make a difference. You smart ass." But what they did, they took the upper 5% on in that intelligence test. Everybody made 95 percentile or above
Yeah.
was automatically put in the Air Force.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So that's how I wound up in the Air Force.
I see.
Then they put me with all the winter clothes on from Fort Leavenworth. That Kansas was cold, Gave me all those big heavy coats
Yeah.
and my trombone, and I came out in Miami Beach.
Oh, my golly.
So the guy was going to try me out to see if I was good enough to be in the band,
Yeah.
So he gave me this thing to read, and I looked at it and said, "Well, that's it. I played that in the 7th grade."
They didn't know what they were dealing with when they
No.
had you.
No.
Well, now, so that band, then you were, tell me some of the music you were playing in the.
Well, we played everything. We played everything.
Yeah.
Except a parade one day, I was in charge of the band. I had them on formation.
Yeah.
We were playing this march, and this major came roughing up and said, "What are you playing?" I said, "Well, I'm playing Colonel Bogey March." "Why?" We said, "Nobody can march to that."
Oh, for God's sakes.
I finally figured out what the problem was.
Yeah.
Marches come in two flavors. They all have two beats in the bar, left, right, left, right.
Yeah.
But one's cut time 4/4, and one's in 6/8 cut. So it's 1, 2, 3 on the left foot, 4, 5, 6 on the right foot.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's only one problem. When you say up, 2, ready, sing, it doesn't start on the it's the wrong foot. He said, "Don't ever play that march again." So I didn't bother to tell him, "Well, sir, we've been playing that in the Army for like the last 30 years.
Yeah, right. And probably you didn't realize that it was a British tune either. Well, listen, how long were you there at Leavenworth?
In Leavenworth,
No, wait a minute.
in Miami Beach.
Oh, that's right. You're in Florida.
Yeah, and so I'm a.
Did that surprise you to see Florida? You'd never seen
I'd
Florida
never been
before?
there. No. So what they had there was they take all these guys in that were in the upper 95 percentile, and then they would assign those to the band after they tried out, and then we would train bands and send them all over the world.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'd send them to Pacific Theater or any theater.
European theater.
So my
yeah.
job was just to teach, so I just stayed there
Ah.
and sent these bands out all over.
Oh my golly.
Now this is what a band looks like. This is two regular bands.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh, what a wonderful, wonderful picture. Can you get that? You want to see that on here? Two bands together. So you're talking about what, 150 people?
No, regular Army band's only 28 pieces.
Oh really?
Yeah.
28 pieces.
So you can tell there are more than 28 pieces there.
Sure. 56 pieces.
Yeah. Well, the extra guys now, we were sending all over the world.
I
the
see.
permanent part stayed there, and then these
Sure.
people came through, and then we'd send them out.
Well, that is very, very, very
So,
interesting.
While we were in Miami Beach, we played the Orange Bowl in '44.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Oh my
that's the
golly.
Orange Bowl.
Oh, how about that? So you played in the Orange Bowl.
I also played in the Cotton Bowl and the Sugar Bowl.
Well, you must have been some football player.
Then I was just playing in the band.
Yeah. And obviously, and you led the trombone section,
So we were always in the front row.
front row.
Yeah,
Did the trombones always lead the band?
they always lead the band because they might hit somebody with it
Oh, sure.
if they're back.
That's that old.
So Jefferson Barracks, St. Louis,
Uh-huh.
the colonel was watching this band parade, and trombones out in front like I was supposed to be, you know.
Yeah.
And after the parade was over, he said, "What's wrong with those trombone players?" And the warrant officer said, "Sir, what did you think was wrong with them?" He said, "All the slides were going a different way."
Oh, for heaven's sake. He was not a musician, was he? Wondered why they weren't all going at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you know, we had first trombone players
Yeah,
playing the first trombone part.
sure.
We had second trombone players playing the second. Third trombone players playing that. So they played F, A, C. Well, F was here. There's other guys, you put the out here, it's out here.
Sure.
And they're all going a different way. Sure. Well, it really got to him.
That's what made beautiful music.
Yeah.
Well, that is just amazing. I'm just
So
so pleased.
after I was teaching there for a while, and my warrant officer that directed the band
All right.
was playing trombone in the Miami Symphony.
Really?
Yeah. And they didn't decide they wanted him, they wanted me instead.
Oh.
So I didn't get any promotions.
Yeah. You were locked in from
I was
there
locked
on,
in, buddy.
I should
Yeah.
say. Well, now, so how long were you there in Miami?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Every day, down on the beach, saying to ourselves, how many more days are we going to be like this?
Right.
Yes.
Kept expecting to be shipped out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
Because I didn't have to do KP or guard duty or anything because I was doing the shows.
Of course.
Yeah, the USO shows,
Sure.
and all those big acts from Hollywood came, and we
Oh.
played for them.
Who were some of the people you got to see? Do you remember?
Well, I think Jack Benny was one. Doris Day.
Yeah.
Of course, those sexy girls couldn't do anything except walk across the stage. They couldn't sing, you know.
That's all.
There's been in all those Hollywood movies. Okay, entertain us now. Duh.
Well, Doris Day was a pretty good singer, though.
Oh yeah, she had her music.
Yeah. She had a tremendous appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw her in the South Pacific. I'll be darned.
So
on a USO
Yeah.
tour. Yeah. All right. So a year and a half on the beach.
On the beach, yeah.
Then what happened?
Well, then they broke this all up. The Air Corps didn't need any bands anymore. The war was getting
Winding
down.
Yeah.
And so they just cut the program and sent us
Really?
I'm having a moment here.
That's okay.
Sebring.
Sebring.
B-17 base.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So they sent us there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And now, so this would be what, a band of what, 28?
28, yeah.
28
10,
of
yeah.
them. Now, let's see now. In 28 pieces, what did you have? How many trombones?
3.
3 trombones,
4 saxes,
4 saxes,
baritone horn,
baritone,
2 sousaphones,
2 sousaphones,
2 drummers,
2 drummers.
and 4 saxophones,
Yeah,
and 2 French horn players,
2 French horns.
and clarinets
Uh-huh.
and flutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a nice ensemble, wasn't it?
Well, it was very small, you know.
Yeah, but solid,
Yeah.
solid. You could make a lot of music with a group like that.
So I had a lot of fun there because I directed the dance band for the officers club.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So after we'd been there for a while, playing every Saturday night for the officers, you know,
Sure.
the major in charge of the officers club said, "Don't you ever get tired of wearing those military uniforms?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I guess." I said, "Why don't we buy you zoot suits?"
Oh, a zoot
Because he says, "We're taking these 17s up to Chicago all the time to pick up booze."
Uh-huh.
He said, "We pick up some zoot suits for you guys." So they measured us all up, and we all came out the next Saturday wearing zoot suits.
I'll bet that was a sensation.
But that wasn't the funniest thing. The funniest thing was when the drunk officer came up to me and said, "Boy, this band's good. That other damn band was so terrible."
Oh, that's priceless.
What did I say? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you're very discreet. Oh, that's a funny story. I love that. I love that kind of stuff. Because I grew up, of course, through the swing period, you know, and I saw all the big band, a lot of the big bands on the West Coast. I mean, the commercial bands, you know, Stan Kenton and Benny Goodman and.
But in that big band in Miami, we had all Glenn Miller's guys coming in
Oh, really?
to the draft. They'd go right to Yale. We wouldn't have to worry about where to send them. Glenn Miller said, "I want them." So he got them.
I see.
Yeah.
He was forming the Air Force Band
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
But we had so many wonderful musicians there.
Oh, golly.
The French horn player from the Philadelphia Orchestra and I played together, and a string bass player with Benny Goodman played with me there,
No kidding.
and just a whole bunch of guys that were just marvelous.
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh. What an experience.
Then the Battle of Bullets came,
Yeah.
and they said, "You guys got to go there and save the infantry's old butts, you know." I shot a rifle about as much as you shoot an air rifle, you know. What did I qualify on? World War II,
Uh-huh.
1917 Enfield, Springfield, 30-30.
No kidding.
I knew.
Ancient.
I find World War II, then they got the new ones, and I qualified on those, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't believe it. That 30-30 packed a wallop, you know.
That was a heavy.
Oh, man.
That was a heavy rifle. You bet.
So everybody that volunteered, like I did,
Yeah.
they didn't take us, but everybody that didn't volunteer, they sent over to Europe. So they said, then the colonel gave us all yellow fever shots and said, "Okay, boys, you're going to go there and save the infantry's old butt now.
Yeah.
Get rid of Hitler over there." So the next day they came, he said, "Okay, get packed up, we're going." I said, "Well, where are we going?" I thought we were going overseas. "Oh, no," he said, "We're going to send you to Atlantic City." You know, I went in the Army, and I had a private room. I had a hotel room with a bath
Yeah.
in Miami Beach,
Sure.
so I wasn't used to that barrack stuff there. So they put us on the bed, and here we are in Atlantic City for the New England Army Hospital for paraplegics.
Oh, really?
And I'm conducting the jazz band and dance band at the hospital for a dance, and they wheel this guy in, wheelchair with a nurse. He doesn't have any legs. he didn't have any arms. He's the guy in England that ditched out, and both of his legs and arms froze off before he landed.
Oh,
You remember that?
I remember that story.
Yeah, well,
I can't remember what his name was. Yeah, he had to bail out so high.
Yeah.
I mean, they were up, what, 20,000 feet or something
Right.
like that. And by the time he got down, he was frozen.
But he would come to every dance, and
No
the
kidding.
nurse would just whip him around, and he just
Loved
loved it.
that music.
Yeah,
You bet.
yeah.
Well, you know, they got a great band up at Wright Pat Field, you know,
yeah.
the U.S. Air Force
Yeah.
band. They play all the World War II music up there.
Oh, yeah.
Great outfit. Well, Bill, now tell us some more about these musicians and some of the funny stories you had. I know you got a million stories.
Well,
Did you ever meet Glenn Miller?
yeah, oh, yes, my Army buddy sang with him.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, for gosh sake!
Well, we went to high school together.
Who was your?
Modernaires.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the lead tenor with the Modernaires.
For heaven's sake!
Yeah.
Oh, I love that orchestra.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
My wife played the piano accompaniment for him in high school.
No kidding.
Yeah. We had a lot of guys from Atchison that were just marvelous.
Oh, I should.
Marvelous musicians.
Isn't that something?
Brewster was with Glenn Miller. I was with Lawrence Welk. Jim Burbank was with George Olson's Society Band.
Sure.
And P.V. Irwin was one of the finest jazz trumpet players in the history of jazz.
Yeah.
P.V. Irwin. He showed up at our high school and played with us for 1 year
No kidding.
and just thrilled us to death.
Oh wow.
But he played with everybody. He played
Yeah.
with Miller, Dorsey, everything.
Pee Wee Irwin was
Pee
one
Wee
of
Irwin.
the top
Yeah.
ever.
And when after the war was over, one of the rich guys in town would catch him going from New York to Hollywood on gigs, you know,
Yeah.
and he'd pay for him to stop there in Atchison and just play for them, just for the family.
Oh, just for the
Just for family, yeah.
Wasn't even the country
We're
club.
going to share it with anybody else, man.
Holy cow. Oh my gosh. Isn't that interesting?
Well, Pee Wee was such a nice guy.
Was he?
Oh, yeah. He would just thrill us to death, you know.
Where was he from? Do you remember?
He's from California.
He was Southern
Yeah,
California. How about some of the other instrumentalists or some of the other musicians that you met? Besides, did you meet the Dorsey brothers or
No, I never met him.
never met them? How about Claude Thornhill?
Huh?
Claude Thornhill?
Yeah, met him, yeah.
Wonderful.
We're there in Atlantic City, we got they all came to the Steel Pier there.
Oh, I see. You
Got
were
to
at Steel
meet-
Pier.
Got to meet Harry James and just everybody came through.
Oh my gosh.
Then they had the Miss America Ball,
Yeah.
so they called and said, how about Worrel bringing his band up to play for the ball? So I conducted the Miss America Ball Orchestra.
Well, for heaven's
Yeah.
sake. Oh my gosh.
And there was some drunk woman there, kept bugging me about playing this piece. And I said, honey, that was the last piece we played.
Would you what?
It was the last piece we played. And she just ran to hell about this.
She must have been drunk.
Yeah. And her name was Venus Ramey.
Venus Ramey
Venus
from
Ramey.
Kentucky,
Right.
right down the line
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Man, she was built.
Oh man.
And she was drunk as a lord.
No kidding.
Oh my gosh. I want a number. Why don't you play that piece? Honey, we just played it.
And she was in the news just recently, you know,
yeah.
when she shooed that robber off her farm.
You're stealing all that barbed wire out of her hard barn down there. I was looking for her for years.
Yeah.
And Lou, that sang with us, tenor, Lou,
Lou Rawls? No.
no? Well, you know him anyway. He owned that warehouse.
Oh, I know who you mean, the Rotarian.
Yeah,
Lou,
Yeah.
he's no longer with
yeah.
us.
He
Yeah.
owned that warehouse down there in over the Rhine,
Oh,
and he used to tell me about this bag lady.
yeah.
And I used to tell him, well, I'm looking for Venus Ramey.
Uh-huh.
I want to know what she's doing. Well, he said, I'll ask around. Well, that was Venus. She was dropping those broken wine bottles all over his warehouse there.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
But that was a big mystery there for a while.
What a character.
Whatever happened to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness sakes. Well, So you met Glenn Miller. Did you ever meet Benny Goodman?
Never met him.
Yeah.
Played with his string bass player, and I played together.
Yes, yeah. And what was his name, string bass player?
Cliff Hills was his name.
Okay.
I mean, when I was playing the Miami Symphony, he played string bass, and the other guy played string bass. The symphony player had 5 strings, not 4 strings.
Right.
The
Classic.
5th string was on this side, see?
Ah.
Well, when Cliff played with Benny Goodman, he had to put it on the other side because he was playing up in the high force
Oh, sure.
all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about that? Boy, you've seen some history.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Well, the mix of the military and the music, and you've told us so many funny things about military people that didn't know very much about music,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
one thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever run into anybody that was really savvy, who did not play an instrument, like, you know?
Yeah, we had a lieutenant that was pretty well educated.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you said one of your players was a member of the Philadelphia
Yeah.
Symphony?
Well, 2 of them. The harpist that played in the ball with for me
No kidding.
was from Philadelphia Orchestra.
Well, then they must have been
Yeah.
playing under Ormandy then, I would imagine.
Yeah. But it was thrilling for me to have a full orchestra,
Oh,
you know, with a harp.
oh my
And he
God.
played the interludes between each number. He
Right.
played on the harp, and that was very
Oh.
classic.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
And our big job in that military hospital was to provide soothing dinner music
yes.
every night. And so we had a fine chamber orchestra
Oh, my
and
gosh.
some fine violin players.
Isn't that something?
Just fine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, then, and then, you know, of course, Glenn Miller added strings
Oh, yeah.
to his band.
Yeah. Right.
When it was the Air Force band.
Yeah.
And
It's
that,
pretty good. He did pretty well for a kid from Clarinda, Iowa, didn't he?
Yeah, I'll say. I was just looking him up in a book the other day, and he was born in 1904.
Yeah.
And so if he'd lived, today he'd be 104 years old.
Yeah.
But
And his signature sound was he'd voiced the instruments the way nobody else ever did, see?
right,
Instead of having 5 saxes sitting here playing the saxophone chorus, he had a tenor saxophone playing lead and a flute on top of that.
Yes.
No, clarinet on
clarinet.
top of that. And that doubling is that unusual sound
Yes.
that he got and nobody else got.
Oh, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And that music that he played, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Moonlight Serenade and
Yeah.
all that great stuff. So you knew the modern airs.
Very well.
How about that? And what was that cute girl that sang with him?
Oh, I want to tell you a story about that.
Yeah.
When I was playing with Welk, he had a whole bunch of really famous girl singers came through. You'd know them, I told you what their name was. But each one of them had a different range.
Right.
So I'm sitting there in the band, I've never played this book, I'm reading. You know, I'm just new.
Yes.
So I'm looking down at this piece of paper and there's a crayon right there and it says C. And I'm sitting there asking, what's that C mean right there? Well, he said, that means the girl's going to sing the next chorus. Couldn't sing in that key, and that's her new key.
Her new key.
Her new key. So I had to transpose. That's right.
Oh, really? Oh, my God.
What you don't understand is that a symphony trombone player starts out playing bass clef, and then if he plays with a church, he plays treble clef.
Uh-huh.
Then if he plays in a symphony, he plays alto clef and tenor clef. So that's 5 of the 7 positions that you could transpose.
I see.
So I could already transpose
Sure,
all of those.
sure.
So that wouldn't have been a big problem for me.
So you you arranged music and everything?
No, I didn't do that much.
Oh, you didn't,
No.
didn't do the arranging, okay. Well, that's interesting what you say about the trombones, because one of my favorite instruments is the bass trombone.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
My
What-
best pupil was making movie music on bass trombone
No
in
kidding.
Hollywood.
Is that so?
Yeah, he's my best student.
Yeah.
Comes
yeah.
to see me every once in a while.
Really?
Thrills me to death.
I'm sure it does.
He's made all those movies, and
Sure.
he's head of the brass department at the USC,
No kidding.
teaching,
Yeah.
Plays Hollywood Bowl,
Yeah.
and
L.A. Philharmonic.
and I had some marvelous students I taught at the University of Kentucky for 10 years. And
Okay, so
Yeah.
now we're at the end of the war, and you're separated from the armed forces.
I'm
And-
looking for a job.
Pardon?
I'm looking for a job now.
Yeah, okay, so you're looking for a job.
Yeah.
But you were still, where were you then, in Atlantic City?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so let's go from there.
Well, you had to have points to get out,
Right.
So my buddy in Kansas needed a band director.
Oh. What a cushy thing.
So he was a second county from Colorado and Nebraska.
Uh-huh.
Way out there.
Way out there.
Way out there.
Boy, oh boy.
So I finished up the year there, and then Manhattan, Kansas,
Okay.
where Kansas State
Kansas
is.
State, sure.
Decided they want me to come there and be the band orchestra director.
Really?
That lasted 2 weeks. Vanderbilt called and said, we'd like to have you come.
Oh.
Get your master's degree and teach for us.
Oh.
So I went to superintendent of schools at Manhattan and said, I don't know what to tell you. I said, I feel so bad. This is a good job.
Sure.
Manhattan, Kansas is a good job for
Sure.
a high school band.
Yeah.
And that man was so smart and so nice. He said, look, you're just one little guy. This break may never come to you again.
Uh-huh.
He says, we can do without you. You can't do without the break when it comes.
Right.
And I was free.
How about that?
Isn't that something?
What a thoughtful
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
You must have thanked him a million
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Now, were you married at this time?
Yeah.
When did you get married?
1940.
1940. Oh,
Yeah.
before the war.
Oh, yeah.
You went to war as a married man.
Yeah. And I had a baby that 3 months later.
For God's sake. You do go back.
Well, now the first job I had was out in Kansas,
Yep.
and it was a little town of 1,000, and there were Czechs, Bohemians.
No kidding.
Yeah. But they loved band. Oh,
Sure.
my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah.
So I had a wonderful band. It was the only time that school ever got one at state and 2 at national contests.
Mm-hmm.
Was with those kids. And I still hear from them.
Do you
They
really?
still write me, yeah.
Yes,
I just wrote a letter yesterday with one of the guys down in Georgia. Well, anyway, about the second year I was there in this little tiny town, Leopold Stokowski decided he wanted to have an all-American youth symphony.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes. So they announced tryouts. So I took the tryout and I won the state and the regional, and I won the audition with Leopold.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And he'd already been the conductor of the Cincinnati Symphony before that.
Well, before that he'd been here, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So you knew old Stokowski.
I auditioned for him.
Was he married to Lily Pons at that time? You remember?
I don't remember.
I know they got married. I don't know what.
Yeah.
What?
I thought that was Castellanos.
You're right. Andre, you're right. Oh, I knew you'd straighten me out. Andre Castellanos, of course. That's he and Lily
Yeah.
Pons. That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
Just think of this. All those guys in Juilliard and all those great schools back east,
yeah.
I'm competing against them from a town of 1,000 out in the middle of the prairie. Come on, man, give me a break. So I was so scared I had diarrhea.
Oh gosh.
Man,
oh,
oh man,
Oh,
I'll tell you, I was scared.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
The guy that's head of the UC Medical College, he's the head monker,
Oh.
Stern, Dr.
Okay.
Stern.
Oh, Dr.
Yeah.
Stern. Yeah.
He tried out, same thing I did. Only difference is he made it and I didn't.
I see.
But he plays marvelous clarinet.
Is that so?
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh.
And he's head of medical college.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So.
Oh, I wanted to, just one more story.
Yeah, oh,
When
more.
I wanted
more.
to ingratiate myself to those Bohemians,
Yes.
So I wanted to learn some Bohemian.
Yeah.
Well, this famous movie, The Big Greek Wedding,
Oh, yes.
same deal. So I learned Consumzolo in Czech. So the first old lady I saw, I said, Consumzolo. She said, ah! She was running off, you know. It was a dirty word.
Oh,
It had reference to the state of my sex organ.
oh boy. So that was the end
That
of
was
your,
that, yeah.
you didn't learn any more Czech?
But that was my entrance. That was my initiation.
Aha. Sure.
Yeah,
That was a learning point.
yeah.
No wonder she ran off.
So just one more thing.
Yeah, come
When I
on.
was playing the Miami Symphony, the second trombone player became the first trombone player in the New York Philharmonic for years.
Oh my golly.
Now the caveat to that is that he was changing his embouchure,
Uh-huh.
so they asked me to take over and help him out.
Ah, I see.
But he was there for years. So
Okay.
Bernstein or somebody was conducting in New York, and they were playing the bolero,
Uh-huh.
and that's a wonderful trombone solo and the bolero. He came in too soon,
Uh-oh.
and Bernstein was looking for him. And he was going to try to get away from him. You know. He finally got to him and said, "Why did you come in too soon?" And he was smart. He said, "I don't know. It just felt right somehow." So I just came in. Then when the New York Philharmonic made the recording of Beethoven's Fifth, which has the highest note on the symphonic literature for trombone,
Really?
for me it was no problem. But of course he couldn't play it,
Yeah.
you know. So when he went back to make it, he still wasn't in very good shape. So it was a finale, and right in the opening is triple fortissimo, big, you know. And here you got this great big high note. Well, hell, nobody can hear that high note.
No.
So he just hummed it. So when the Empire Brass was here a couple of years ago to play here, the trombone player, told him I played with this guy. He said, "Did he tell you that story about the album, that record they made with him here?" I said, "Yeah, how did you find out?" Well, said, everybody in the business now knows that he hummed him. No, he didn't play it. Well, who could tell? You know, you can tell.
Sure.
Yeah, there's no way you could tell.
Oh my gosh.
I guess Beethoven could tell.
Well, honestly, your stories are just wonderful. Now, you know, before World War II, there were some great bands in this country,
Oh, yeah.
like the Armco Band.
Yes,
What was his name? Simon?
Simon.
Yeah.
I
And
ate-
Bob Simon. You know Bob Simon.
I
you're in
ate,
town.
I ate supper almost every night with Dave.
Oh, you
Joe,
do? With David?
Joe, yeah, Joe.
His son, sure.
And then Dave was in Rotary, you know.
Yes.
And one time, the guy that wrote the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
Sorry.
Ferdy Groffet.
One time, Ferdy Groffet was in town. He was a good friend of the Simons.
Yes.
And Dave asked me to come and have a private supper with the Groffet.
Oh,
I was just thrilled to death.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, you have had.
So then Joe and I they wrote that book about his father.
Yes.
Was this solo trumpet with John Philip Sousa. So they want to show me this new book. So I looked at it, and I opened the foreword, you know, I said, "Well, that's interesting." I said, "There's a mistake right here on the second page." He said, "How'd you know that?" And I said that Robert F. McFadden was a good friend of theirs. McFadden.
Yeah.
Well, Bob.
Sure.
McSpadden.
McSpadden. Oh my golly. Misspelled it, yeah.
Then I turned to the index. It was McSpadden in the index.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, they didn't even do the index right.
I'll be darned. I've got a copy of that book. I'm going to go home and look it
Yeah,
up.
it's a great book.
Yeah, that was a wonderful
Well,
book.
his son just, you know, he has stories of just
Oh,
one
yeah.
story after the other.
I know it.
The guy that wrote Music Man,
Yes.
who?
Meredith Wilson.
Meredith Wilson was in the Mason City Band
Yep.
when his dad came to conduct. And he called Susan and said, "I found your new flute player."
Oh,
Yeah.
Meredith
And
Wilson.
did you realize that's one of the only major Broadway shows that was ever written with Meredith Wilson?
Oh,
Yeah. And did you realize that's one of the only major Broadway shows that was ever written with Meredith Wilson? Yeah. with the composer doing the libretto.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Wrote the words.
Even Porgy and Bess, his brother did the libretto,
Ira,
Yeah.
sure.
and for all those great, but that boy was one talented guy.
Isn't that
Oh,
something?
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Music Man, enduring, never.
Even my great-grandchildren like that.
Yeah, yeah.
The little guy sign languages now. And they played those songs for him. And 5 times he wanted to hear that song over and over.
Isn't that something?
And he responded to that.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Inspirational. And you know, here again, this guy from a little town in Iowa,
Yeah,
yeah, Meredith Wilson,
Yeah.
and all you great guys from the state of Kansas.
yeah.
I can't get over that.
Well,
Yeah.
when I was a senior in high school, I was first trombone player in the all-state orchestra.
Yeah,
And the conductor was Joseph Matty, who started at Interlochen, that camp.
mm-hmm.
And so I won a scholarship up there too.
For heaven's
Yeah.
sake. Tell us some more about any more stories about your World War II period. You've told us about Miami and Atlantic City, and did you play the tenor trombone?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the high one.
I told my student to play the bass trombone because there's not as much pressure.
Right,
So
You-
he went,
you gotta-
Hollywood and specialized in bass trombone.
right.
So he stayed.
Different, and a different
Yeah,
mouthpiece.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right. Yeah, I struggled with the trombone for a little bit.
So I taught trombone and brass at Vanderbilt,
At
Peabody.
How long were you at Vanderbilt?
I was just there that year that I got my master's degree,
Oh, I see.
and I taught brass there.
How about that?
2 of my students made the Nashville Symphony there.
Uh-huh.
Then I worked with a good territory band there, and Nashville was a hotbed for music, you know.
Of course,
Oh,
yeah.
you ever hear the Yakety Sax man?
Yep,
From that? I said I played a dance job with him one night.
how about
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
You like Nashville?
yeah, yeah. I like Nashville. very much.
Everybody who's had experience there seems to like it.
Yeah,
And Vanderbilt is a great, great university.
yeah.
Well,
So I got my doctorate at Illinois, and I got to play in those marvelous bands up there.
okay, that was at Champaign?
Yeah, and I got a job with the best campus dance band, and made money. I was making more money working on my doctorate with a family of 3, than I was teaching at the University of Kentucky.
Is
Got the
that?
GI Bill.
Sure.
I had a $1,000 fellowship.
Wow,
I was working in the #1 dance band.
yeah.
It was just marvelous.
Boy,
Yeah.
boy, oh boy. Well, you see, it all adds up, Bill. Your spirit, your heart, your you know, your philosophy of life and everything. And music was
Yeah.
the thing that brought it together, held it
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and has maintained you throughout your life.
Well, I always emphasized the emotional side of it.
Yes,
That's why my kids are still writing me to this day, because of the emotional.
yes,
That's what I was after.
right, right.
Yeah.
Well, I can certainly appreciate that. And now tell us about your family.
My stepdaughter is a retired ambassador to Guinea
Guinea,
and the State Department.
Guinea, Africa.
Guinea, Africa. There
Yeah.
are 4 Guinea Africas.
All right.
She was in Guinea Conakry,
Oh,
and it was all black Muslims.
for heaven's
And you know what kind of regard they have for a white woman?
Oh my golly. Why would our government
Because the State Department is stupid, that's
Yeah,
right.
right. Foggy bottom.
Yeah, boom, terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Then my son was with NATO,
With what?
and he was with Kissinger too.
Oh, he was.
And when he went to
Was
train,
he stationed in Belgium?
yeah. But when he first went in, he had to take a refresher course in conversational French.
Uh-huh.
That's not the same as literary French.
No.
So he went to this class and sat down. There was Henry Kissinger taking a refresher course.
In conversation
Yeah,
with French.
yeah.
I'll bet he had a tough time. He had such a guttural German accent?
No, his brother's not that way.
Really?
Nah,
I didn't know about his brother.
he's not that way.
Yeah.
So he went on all those trips to Egypt and Israel. He went on a trip to Russia. He went on a trip to China, where he performed a very important job for Kissinger and Nixon. He had to get him chopsticks.
Taught him how to use them, huh?
Yeah. And then when he was in Cairo, he had to take Nancy around because she was Kissinger's new wife at that point in time. Now he did all the debriefing for the Kissinger Nixon stuff in Washington. He's been debriefing all that stuff, and now they're writing books based on material that he debriefed.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he was really on the inside, wasn't he?
He really was, yeah.
Oh my God.
Way inside.
Wow. Yeah. Espionage and all that backdoor stuff.
And then I had free board and room service when all my kids were overseas.
Oh.
She was ambassador in Marseille, and that's a beautiful place.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh my. Right there on.
So we were in the embassy there, stayed with her.
Right.
She entertained people there. She had a complete set of 100 dishes and cups and stuff and all that jazz. And we looked out over the
China silverware.
yeah. Oh, and we could look down and see the Monte Cristo place there. Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, that's just amazing. Now, where's your son now?
He's retired, and he takes, like all the retired Washington people do, he takes jobs
Sure.
for the State Department.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Consultant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well, my gosh, with all that experience and all that education and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
our government needs help like that.
One time we had an ambassador from Poland that spoke to us at Rotary,
Yes.
and we talked.
Oh yeah.
And he said, "Where is your daughter?" And I told him where she was, and he said, "Well, she's been, how long has she been?" I said, "Well, she's had 3 posts in Africa, and she's very proficient in Africa." He said, "That may be a first for the State Department." So everybody in the job knew a damn thing about it.
The key word is proficient.
Yeah.
Well, I remember meeting her. You had her here several
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
and very, very impressive woman and
Yeah.
amazing. Again, you know, if there's anything more about World War II that you can dredge up or think about for a
Yeah,
moment.
just one more.
Yeah, oh, please, more.
So I went to Fort Leavenworth. I'm going to go in the Air Force, right?
Yeah.
So the Fort Leavenworth band's going to play
Uh-huh.
for us. Big thrill.
Yeah.
28-piece band.
Yeah.
So they're going to play some Christmas carols.
Okay.
And that's Dumb Warrant Officer is going to conduct the band now on Christmas carols. He leaned over to the first player. He said, "How many beats in the bar on Saturday night?
How many what?
How many beats in the bar on Saturday night?"
Oh
And I
my
thought-
goodness.
I thought, "Oh Lord,
This
what am
guy-
I into?"
This guy was a musician?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
my.
I thought, what have I got myself into here?
I mean,
I got to believe it, man.
that's pre-elementary school stuff. Isn't that amazing? Oh. Well, now, that's interesting. You talk about the warrant officer. That rank was pretty common in musicians, leading musicians, wasn't it?
Well, the head of the band was Chief Warren.
Chief Warrant,
Yeah,
CWO.
yeah. And there was some difference between that and a commissioned officer, but they had some advantages. I don't remember what they were, but there was some
Yeah,
couple things.
probably had a little more freedom than a commissioned officer.
Uh-huh.
Well, honest to gosh, that is just absolutely amazing. Your experience, how much time did you have in Hollywood or Southern California? Did you have any?
No, I didn't have that.
You had no professional time
No, no.
in Hollywood.
My student did.
Your students did.
Yeah.
Now, Your students, you're talking about, people who were what, in their 70s, 60s, 70s?
Well, they were college students in 1950,
Okay.
60. So they're going to 60 now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But they're active,
Oh, yes, he's made
Big
at least
ti-
15 major movies.
big timers.
Big timers, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, so many people, of course, can relate to Lawrence Welk,
Yeah.
seeing him on PBS,
It's kind of embarrassing
Yeah,
to me because I don't like him.
yeah. Well, I've heard that before. I heard that he was kind of a questionable character. And of course, he had that, he had that funny way of speaking.
Yeah. Poise. Not boys. Poise. Not poise.
Well, you got another funny story to tell?
Probably, but I think that's about all I want to do now.
Oh, we got time for a couple more.
No. I hope you don't think I was bragging too much.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
See, this is important, Bill, because a copy of this is going to be kept here in the archives of our library here, and a copy will be sent to Washington,
Yeah.
to the National Archives, and of course you get the DVD for you and your family.
Okay.
And so eventually people will be able to link in to the website of the
Yeah.
public library here and see our interview.
Yeah.
And they'll learn history about
Yeah.
seeing you here.
Yeah.
And I think that I was going to say that as a boy in the West, before the war, before we got into the war, those great bands like the Armco Band
Oh, yeah.
had their regular
Saturday afternoon.
had their regular every week
Wouldn't miss it for anything.
on national radio.
Yeah.
NBC,
Yeah.
Mutual Broadcasting, all that stuff,
Yeah.
broadcast around the country.
Yeah.
And my parents were very musical and brought me up that way, and that was a very important thing to listen to those programs on the radio.
Well, I lived near Kansas City, and that was really the heart of jazz at that point in time.
Oh, Kansas City jazz.
Mary Lou Williams and
Sure.
Count Basie
Oh yeah.
and Andy Kirkland and
Sure.
12 Clouds of Joy.
Jumping at the Woodside.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a hotel in
Yeah.
Kansas City?
And there were some other good bands there too.
Oh my.
And there were lake resorts near Atchison for boating and everything.
Right.
And they would come and play at those dance halls.
Wow.
So I got to hear them when I was in the 7th grade.
Sure.
A lot of, I think my biggest thrill was jazz. I playing that wonderful band in Champaign. I played in this big hotel in Springfield, Illinois. And after the job was over, the house man, black man, that takes care of bringing your bags in, he came up to me and said, "You know, that's the blackest music I ever heard a white man play." Now, to me,
That was it.
that was one of the supreme compliments,
Absolutely.
just like it was when I played for the conductor of the Baltimore Symphony.
Uh huh.
And he was our guest conductor, and he said, "That's the best I've ever heard that played."
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've had some really nice.
I'll bet you liked Gershwin's music, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And Grofé. That Grand Canyon Suite is one of the most spectacular things.
Well, now, Joe likes the New Orleans suite, but I don't even know the New Orleans suite. Do you?
I've heard it,
Yeah.
but I don't think it doesn't stack up to the Grand Canyon
No.
Suite. Well, what was Grofé like when you met him?
He was wonderful.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was a
Right.
New Yorker, wasn't he?
I guess very humble,
Yeah.
very nice.
Nice person.
Great music.
Did you ever meet Gershwin?
Never.
No, of course he
No.
died so young.
No.
Did you ever meet Ira Gershwin? He lived quite a long time after
Yeah.
his brother died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were just such a famous pair.
Yeah.
My gosh. Now, who again did the libretto as well as the music? Meredith Willson.
Meredith Wilson.
Right,
Yeah.
right. He did the libretto for Music Man
Yeah.
as well as the
And
music.
yeah.
My
And he
goodness.
played flute with John Philip Sousa.
Did you really?
He did.
He did, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, oh my gosh, Bill, this has been so wonderful.
Well, I hope so.
You know, I know you've got a million stories. We could do another hour with you very easily. We'll get together and I want you to tell me some more stories
Yeah.
when we get together.
Okay,
How long have you been at the Margie P?
3 years.
3 years. You like it there?
Yeah, I took my daughter there because she had cancer.
Oh,
She died there.
yeah.
So I lost 2 wives and a daughter. That's not the right
Oh my God.
thing of it. A parent doesn't ever want to do,
No,
lose a child first.
no. Terrible.
But they took good care of her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's wonderful.
Well, you've had a fascinating life and experience, and I just we can't thank you enough for your willingness to talk about it.
My pleasure.
And the fun thing about what you experienced yourself and have done is that you express yourself so well, you talk about it, I've known you forever, it seems like, and you've got a great sense of humor
Yeah.
and your knowledge of music. And I'll never forget your directing our Rotary Chorus and directing the national anthem the way you do it with professionalism and style. And I love it. And we thank you so much, Bill.
All right.
God bless you.
God bless
and,
you.
I know Dennis will want to talk to you some more here if you
Okay.
got something to show him.